Mark Jones courtside along with Fran Fraschilla. Fran, when you look at the numbers, in particular the ones that jump off the page at you are the USA's lack of three-point shooting. Just 1 of 12. Kobe Bryant making the singular shot from downtown. Hello everybody, I'm Mark Jones alongside Fran Fraschilla. Fran, an interesting first half in which Brazil really came out and took the tempo away from the United States after the USA went up 2-0.
Not surprised, really. You're talking about a team with 6 NBA or former NBA players. They've been together since June 10th. They obviously are well coached. This is a great test for Team USA. This is the type of game they're going to play in the quarterfinals to get to the gold, or the semifinals to the gold medal game. And great test. I think Coach K is going to find out about his team. I would be concerned about all the jump shots. 1 for 12 from 3. They don't have a pure low post presence, so you got to find your way into the paint, whether it's off the drive, offensive rebounding, or in transition.
LeBron James getting some paint points to get that offense ignited a little bit in the latter part of the second quarter. Folks, time to get to a better state, brought to you by State Farm, and a look at some of the highlights from the first half of play. Brazil operating with impunity offensively early, Fran.
Well, exactly. These guys were all professional players. Obviously, Varejao knocks down the jump shot, NBA player. But then the defense, I thought. And when you talk about Team USA, the 20-5 run in the second quarter was because of excellent defensive pressure. Westbrook, LeBron, Kobe, Chris Paul, outstanding.
Take a look at the leading scores so far in the ball game. LeBron James leading the way for the United States. A lot of those paint points. He was 5 for 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line, a total of 13 points. Alex Garcia leading the way for Brazil in the first half. He had 12 on 4 of 5 and really got it started early with those 2 3-point shots he made from the corner baseline. Fran, what kind of adjustments do you think that Coach K might continue to make here to keep the momentum going here in the second half?
We saw this in the second half against Dominican Republic, even though Team USA had the huge lead. Great half-court pressure. Relentless, really. I would be surprised if Team USA doesn't come out with that similar effort. Remember, the team that started tonight did not play great half-court defense. That must change. I think it'll be a good challenge from Coach K to this team.
Now, Russell Westbrook in particular did a nice job of turning that tempo around for the United States with some of his full court pressure. And you know, it was interesting a few moments ago, President Barack Obama joining us here on the broadcast, and had a chance to visit with the women's team that won a little bit earlier today against the Brazilian women's national team, and he had a chance to visit with them through a little picture taking, photo op, Angel McCutcheon with Vice President Joe Biden. We talked about the fact that just a few moments ago, he's a big basketball fan, men and women. He coaches his daughters. And Vice President Joe Biden speaking down at my son's high school actually recently, Cypress Bay High School in Weston, Florida. Stuck around for the whole event, addressing some 4,300 students, and nice to see everybody turn out and support the United States. But, you know, in a different vein, Fran, there's an air of patriotism that's really permeated this USA basketball team. And not to sound trite, it's really given them an anchor and a galvanizing effect moving forward to the Olympics.
Well, I think this started in 2005 when Jerry Colangelo took over the program, named Mike Krzyzewski the coach. Remember this, Mark. Mike Krzyzewski is a United States Military Academy graduate. He feels it in his veins, the patriotism. And all these players, particularly guys like LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, they're making their 3rd appearance in the Olympics. It says something about how they feel about representing the United States of America.
Brazil with possession to begin the second half. This is Huertas out top. Barbosa got a couple of early fouls. Kobe got knocked down on the switch from the same corner that he made his first 2. Missing that time is Garcia.
This game has gotten a little bit too physical now, and I think if you're officiating this game, you got to make sure that nothing gets out of hand, because a lot of moving screens, a lot of bodies flying.
LeBron missing that post-up jumper and a wide open splitter for the layup.
Yeah, that's you give Huertas space in the pick and roll, and you don't have good defensive coverage, he will pick you apart. He has no intimidation at all as far as being out here.
Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant in the backcourt for the United States to begin the second half. This is the same starting five that began the game. And with LeBron being guarded by Garcia, you would expect maybe, Fran, a little post-up action here.
There you go, right on cue.
LeBron passing out of the double team for Kobe. And Kobe knocks down his second three ball off the nice feed.
I like it. Double team came. LeBron looked opposite. Kobe spotted up. Remember, that international line is about 1.5 feet closer.
There's Barbosa back at you for three, off the mark, rebounded by Chandler. And if you remember that gold medal game in 2008 in China against Spain, it was Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade that made a lot of the key buckets down the stretch. Chandler off the lob, kicks it back out to LeBron. 10 on the shot clock. LeBron draws the contact and one. We've seen that a few times.
He had the mouse in the house.
Foul's going to go against Garcia.
Hey, that's just brute strength. We talked about this at the beginning. Garcia opened the game on him. Now watch. He just punked him inside. Garcia had a big smile on his face.
Well, he looked like he fouled LeBron 3 or 4 times on his way to the bucket, and LeBron punctuating that field goal.
You mentioned it earlier, Mark. I thought LeBron did a much better job this season of taking his game to the lane when it required it.
Spent a lot of time over the offseason last year with Hakeem Olajuwon. Went down to Houston and spent almost a week with Hakeem, the great low post scorer and Hall of Famer. Huertas out top, working against Chris Paul. Look at Chris Paul move his feet, trying to fight around that splitter screen. And they come up with the steal. Relentless defense, and Varejao now.
That's what I talked about. I saw this coming, Mark. The first play of the second half, third quarter, that is, it was getting a little too physical, and that's just a little bit of payback.
Don't let the choir boy look of Chris Paul fool you,
oh,
folks.
No. Oh, no. Watch this right here. Now, that's Varejao just getting even.
That was one of those accidentally on purpose fouls.
Well, Varejao got Kobe to start the second half on an illegal screen. That's why I smelled this coming.
One thing that these players will tell you, and I've heard it from them, when you have USA on the uniform, that's an automatic target on your back. Back comes Huertas the other way off the Kobe miss. Lead is 9 for the United States.
No, that's
nice feed inside. Garcia with the layup. Here's Chris Paul back. Paul steps back and knocks down a three.
That was excellent execution. That time Huertas went under the screen. The screener buried Huertas, and Chris Paul did a really good job of just spotting up.
Splitter trying to put it on the deck against Carmelo Anthony, and Anthony with the foul. That's the second team foul against the United States in the third quarter.
Take a look at Huertas right here, Mark. Why don't you just drop that dime? Now he's got Kobe on him on that last possession. So, but now watch this. Watch the screen there by Carmelo. It gets Huertas to go under.
Here's Huertas out top. Barbosa off the curl. LeBron guarding him. 5 on the shot clock. He's got to get one up quickly. And he won't. Another shot clock violation forced by the United States. And Fran, one of the indelible images of the last major competition for the United States was in Turkey against Turkey in the gold medal game. And I want to say they caused 3 or 4 shot clock violations against that team in the first half alone. It's the type of defensive pressure they can apply.
No question, Mark. And I've said this before, because they can switch at 2, 3, 4 spots, sometimes 5, it makes them particularly lethal. Teams do not like to run offense against defenses that switch successfully, because it takes away cuts and easy opportunities to score.
LeBron passing out of the double team was fouled by Splitter, his second. Kobe with the step back. Kobe Bryant having a tough time shooting the ball tonight, just 3 of 9. Barbosa blocked by Durant with that long reach of his. Paul with the jab step. And rebounded by Barbosa. Brazil with numbers. And quick hands by the United States, and Paul on the run out. Took the hit and one. Chris Paul, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, watch first of all what you call tarantula right here. Watch the extension mark on the block. And Chris Paul, if you're watching at home, you're a young guard, take the ball to the defender. Absorb the contact, and a great finish right there. That was going to be a collision. It was a matter of who's going to win the collision.
Chris Paul fully healed from his late season nicks and bruises with the Los Angeles Clippers. His Clippers ousted in 4 consecutive games by the San Antonio Spurs. But he was telling me the other day, outside of his thumb injury that he heard early in training camp, he's fine. He's got 10 points in the game now. And the lead is up to 13. Garcia into Splitter. And you talked about it just a second ago, friend. The swarming United States defense. There's no substitute for that kind of quickness.
No, you look at LeBron, you look at Iguodala. Chris Paul's been all defense, first team in the NBA. Kevin Durant's got that length. You don't really, I mean, right now you don't even have a power forward out there, really, if you think about it.
That's going to be a foul against Kobe Bryant.
Outside of LeBron, who could guard all 5 positions, obviously. Everybody else out there is essentially a perimeter player.
And friend, when you look at the United States roster as Russell Westbrook comes in for Kobe, there are a bunch of all defensive NBA players on this team. Kobe being one of them.
Well, this is a good matchup because Westbrook has been terrorizing guys so far these first 2 games.
Huertas knocks down the long ball behind the nice screen by Splitter. Lead back down to 10 with about 5.5 to go here in the 3rd quarter. The United States playing its second of 5 exhibition games leading up to the Olympics in London. After this one, they'll go across the pond to play in London against Great Britain. Paul calls for the screen from Iguodala. Durant with the rip through. Wow, what a move. Missed it. Iguodala had knocked away, but he's fouled in the process. Foul called by Matthew Martin, the official from Puerto Rico. Pardon me, that's Jose Carrion. That's the 3rd foul against Garcia, sending Andre Iguodala to the free throw line. Friend, what do you make of the decision to go with Andre Iguodala on this team as opposed to other guys who are alternates like a Rudy Gay or an Eric Gordon?
Well, I loved Eric Gordon, and he played so well, as you mentioned earlier, in 2010, as did Iguodala. And I think he could have flipped the coin, really. But Iguodala, you know, he's going to play a lot more minutes, I think, than people think. This is a guy that averages about 12, 13 points a game for the Sixers, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, great defensively, and makes open shots, Mark. So his versatility, again, I think gives him an opportunity to get a lot of playing time. But I love Eric Gordon. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Gordon's on the 2016 team, coming off the injury-plagued season.
Remember, those of you who haven't heard already, Blake Griffin will undergo knee surgery and will be out 6 to 8 weeks. Anthony Davis taking his spot on the roster. And once again, another Brazil turnover, the function of good defensive pressure by the United States. That's their 19th turnover. Friend, this wasn't the case for Brazil when they played against the United States in the World Championships.
Well, they may see each other again. And as I said, don't go by just this performance tonight, because remember, Coach Magnano had some of his key players out much of that 2nd quarter. But there's no question that their team speed and quickness is going to cause anybody trouble, including the teams that we think of as the fiercest rivals, Argentina and Spain.
Iguodala fouled by Nene. That's his 2nd personal foul. Timeout on the floor. The United States leading by 11 with 4:43 to go. And presidential and vice presidential night. Trying to catch up on those texts and those calls in the shadows of the White House. Back with more after this.
V6 bi-turbo. Technology that can make 2,000 decisions in a
Choo-choo-choo, make savings with the train line. Choo-choo-choo.
To save on train tickets, choose thetrainline.com.
Pre-season games don't come much better than this. And it looks like the Gunners are ready to go as they look to unseat the Premier League champs in Beijing's Birdsnest Stadium. From China to the US, Liverpool's Red Army marches on, hoping to start the new campaign with a victory against Spurs. As well as the Reds taking on Roma and Chelsea playing the best the MLS have to offer. ESPN's pre-season's the perfect warm-up before August's big kickoff.
Back at a sold-out Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Mark Jones chopping it up courtside along with Fran Fraschilla. The United States leading by 11. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the USA women. They play Great Britain in Manchester on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Then Thursday, the men are in Manchester against Great Britain. Then on the 22nd, Argentina plays against the United States. That's the men's game, and that'll be at midnight Eastern time, 9 o'clock Pacific. Then the USA men wrap up their exhibition pre-Olympic schedule against Spain in Barcelona on July the 24th as Iguodala misses the first of two. Everyone knows that Spain came close in the Olympics last time, Fran. How do you handicap Spain's chances against the United States 4 years later now?
Well, they still have the Gasol brothers inside, and you talk about size and a team that could bother Team USA. It is Spain, but keep in mind, Ricky Rubio will not play. Rudy Fernandez is coming off back surgery, and Navarro has been banged up most of the season, but you still have a lot of experience.
Nene with a strong move to the bucket. Those two guys used to be teammates at one point with the Denver Nuggets. And they now a member of the Washington Wizards. He's got 6. LeBron, bad pass. They claim it was tipped, but it wasn't. Let's take a look at the Pool B teams. Spain, Australia, China, Russia, Brazil, and Great Britain. Russia just qualifying recently for the Olympics. Spain the best team obviously in that group, Fran?
Well, they are, but you know, Russia's awfully sneaky good. Excellent coach. Kirilenko's probably playing the best basketball of his career.
Lead is at 10. Huertas with the drive. And there's an example of the FIBA rule. And they're going to count the basket. Maybe someone's hand got up underneath the hoop.
That's exactly right. That's a good call. Let's take a look, Mark, because obviously you could bat that ball off. See if somebody's hand went through the cylinder. Yep, good call by Jose Carrion, the official from Puerto Rico who somehow lives in Connecticut. Don't ask me about that, but Jose,
it's a small world, Fran Fraschilla.
One of the top FIBA officials you'll see.
Durant finally finds the mark from downtown. Kevin Durant telling me a little bit earlier that this is a great balm and elixir for getting over the disappointment of losing in the NBA Finals just a month ago. He gives the United States an 11-point lead. Splitter working against Durant. Nice move by Splitter to back him down and draw the foul. Thiago Splitter, the San Antonio Spurs, draws the foul. That's the good news. The bad news is in the NBA, he's well under 50% from the free throw line.
And there's no reason to think that it's going to be any different in FIBA. No. That's been my experience anyway.
Brazil has not been to the line since the first quarter. 5 of 6, and there you see evidence of his lack of skilled or good free throw shooting. Splitter, a key backup for the Spurs, goes 1 of 2.
It's a young guy that's been around a long time. We mentioned he played as a 17-year-old in the World Championships a decade ago.
10-point ball game. Iguodala working his way to the basket and draws the foul from Splitter. Andre Iguodala had one of his better years with the Philadelphia 76ers this season. He was voted first-time All-Star. First All-Star they've had since Allen Iverson, in fact. He'll go to the free throw line for 2. Varejao coming back into the ball game for Splitter.
Of course, his coach, Doug Collins, knows something about the Olympic Games, having competed in 1972 in the famous game that Team USA lost to the Soviet Union.
Controversial ending in that game, and in which the silver medals that the United States won are still sitting in a vault in Lausanne, Switzerland, still unclaimed. I don't think those guys over there on that bench are thinking about silver or bronze right now, though, Fran.
Now, LeBron and Carmelo each have a bronze medal from 2004. I'm sure it's not displayed prominently in their trophy cases.
I actually asked LeBron where his was. He couldn't tell me. He didn't know. In all honesty, he had no idea where it was.
Using as one of those
paperweight?
Yeah, paperweight.
Varejao hung up, 6 on the shot clock. Huertas with a nice floater off glass. The lead is down to 9. He has 7. Brazil still hanging around here, Fran Fraschilla. Darren Williams trying to change that. Taking his game across the river to Brooklyn. He and Joe Johnson going to team up for the Brooklyn Nets, along with Brook Lopez back in the fold. And no Dwight Howard last time we checked.
Remember where Darren Williams spent the early part of last season?
In Turkey.
That's right, playing for Beşiktaş. Take a look at Darren Williams here, a little crafty. Your 2 former Dallas high school players right there, Huertas and Darren Williams.
You're the only guy I know that can pronounce
Beşiktaş. Exactly. Allen Iverson's former home.
Huertas with a nice pass to Varejao and a sweet finish by Anderson Varejao. The lead still just at 9 points, and he's got 8.
I'm going to tell you right now, you might think I'm crazy. Huertas is every bit as good as Jeremy Lin.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
What makes you say that?
Yeah, well, because he's a master of the pick and roll. Can make shots. He's just a good facilitator. I don't know that he'd be an NBA star, but he could start for a number of teams and certainly would be a great backup. And it has had opportunities. He's not going to come over here for minimum veteran money.
Here he is working against Kevin Love out top. Can he take advantage of this mismatch, though? A perceived mismatch. They run a double team at him. 5 on the shot clock. Jumper on the way by Giovanni, no good. And Love rebounds. How important for everybody on this USA team to be on the glass, Fran, as Durant gets all the way to the bucket.
Well, it's critical because they're not a big team, but they're certainly athletic enough.
Huertas with a nice spin move and finish. Huertas makes it a 7-point contest. He's got 8 assists and 9 points. A pretty impressive stat line.
Yeah, I've got a guy on Twitter that owes me an apology, too.
What's he say?
I can't.
Pitched by Taylor. And you know what, friend? I know there's a little bit of gamesmanship when it comes to international teams when they play against the United States. But at this point, a 7-point game under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. You can't tell me that Ruben Magnano, the coach of Brazil, isn't trying to win this game right now.
I'm just going to tell you, I'm not sure that he feels like he needs to.
Okay.
Because what good is winning now if you're trying to win a medal? Now, I will say this. It's more likely that Brazil is going to. I'm telling you now, Brazil is a dark horse to get a medal.
Okay.
I don't think they certainly would have trouble winning the gold. But after Spain and Argentina, Coach Magnano has brought a consistency to Brazilian basketball. You know, Brazil has always been the up and down, running, crazy, shoot it quick type team. They defend, they execute, and they still are relatively athletic, Mark.
Fran, meanwhile, on the court, a intentional foul against the United States. It's only a 6-point lead right now. Larry Taylor, a naturalized player, erstwhile of Chicago, inbounds. Basketball truly is global. Williams just dogging the 19-year-old Neto.
Yeah, the young guy struggled tonight.
Varejao with a nice move in the post. Continues to pivot.
He's still pivoting. He's still pivoting.
Westbrook over to Durant. That's how you finish. Durantula extending those long arms of his, giving the United States an 8-point lead. And the shot clock and the game clock are almost in perfect sync right now with 18 seconds to go in the period. Friend, how surprised are you by the competitiveness of this game right now?
You got six current or former NBA players on the Brazil roster, Mark. I'm not really surprised at all. And it's an exhibition game. It's a good test for Team USA.
Nene over Love. And Love rebounds to end the third quarter. The United States with an 8-point lead. USA outscoring Brazil by 3, 22-19 in the third.
Well, we told you, Mark, about the NBA players, Nene, Varejao, Splitter, Barbosa. But it's Huertas with his magic keeping this Brazil team in the game. Take a look. Where are you? Come find me.
ESPN, the Barclays Premier League.